in her seat. Never mind.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Hello. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Therapy of the Absurd, episode 52.
Woo!
Backwards.
Sorry, we're back.
Wow.
What's up? And we have an amazing guest with us tonight and lots of fun stuff to talk about. But first, how's everybody's week going?
Wonderfully. I'm having a great week. I am caffeinated. I didn't take a nap this week, and I drank yerba mate. So I am very excited. I was able to shampoo my hair, grease my scalp, and I'm sitting with my heated blanket right now, living my best life. I'm in a great mood, and this is what caffeine does to me.
Very nice.
Nice. That sounds awesome. It's been an interesting week. It's actually it's had some moments. I've just been trying to lean in to all good things and good teachings to help me move forward and continue adulting, because otherwise it feels like adulting sucks. But I know that the first step to adulting not sucking is to not think that it does. So I've got to clean up, wax on, wax off my thoughts. So it's been that kind of week where I've been cleaning up my thoughts. That's all I can say, as I'm now trying to get my hair from not taking off like a jet plane. Okay.
Very nice. Let's see. What have I been doing? Well, I did trade in a lot of movies. I did do that. Back one day.
You said trade them in? What does that mean?
Oh yeah. Well, because I got a lot of stuff on digital, so need to keep both of them. Just condense, make some space.
Make some space. Got to do the same. I'm here for it.
Oh yes. And then clean up around the house and all that fun stuff. I can't complain too much. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I got to catch up on that I'm really excited to watch and stuff. Especially the comedy stuff. Michael Shea's new stand-up special. There's a lot of them.
Shame the Devil. Really. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So I still gotta watch that
finally dug into Netflix is a Joke Radio.
Oh.
On X. I'm sorry.
Oh, bless you.
All right. And that was fun. That made my day. That was interesting to hear, because all of the stations are grouped together. So there's Netflix is a Joke. Then there's Great Comics, Comedy Central, and then Kevin Hart, like all four, 93, 94, 95, and 96. They're all back to back.
Wow.
And so I didn't mean to interrupt you, but just when you were talking about that, I was getting comedy was coming at me as I was driving.
Oh, I remember now. I got my booster.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did a mixed cocktail, if you will.
Which ones did you get, and when did you get the shot?
2 Moderna, and I got my Pfizer.
Okay.
We can boost with Pfizer. We can boost.
Yep.
You can mix.
Oh.
You can make a cocktail.
Okay.
They say that if you got Pfizer, it's good if you get Moderna. Because it covers more. Even Johnson & Johnson, but I'd be like, sometimes they just be making stuff up. They be like, we got 30 million Moderna. We got 1 million Pfizer. Okay, listen, y'all, mix it.
That's right. And if we
CDC,
turn into monsters,
mix it.
I guess I'm like, this is not a cocktail, or is it?
That's right.
I think Stephen still looks normal.
Fight it.
Did you get sick, Stephen? Did you get it today?
Oh no, I got it on Tuesday. Did
you get sick?
Felt a little off, not too bad. And then my daughter got her first. She got her first Pfizer also. Mm-hmm. She goes, Daddy, it's gonna hurt. I'm like, no, it's gonna be a little pinch. Let me know when he does it. Okay. He's all, did he do it? Yeah. Okay, you're done.
It went that easily?
Oh yeah. It's all up here, man. It's a psych out.
I watched The View, and Gavin Newsom was on there yesterday. I always watch the rerun from the prior day. He actually said that in Cali, 93% of adults have already at least gotten one dose of the vaccine, which I feel like we could be proud of.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said that compared to Florida and how they handle it per capita, they have 50% more deaths.
Oh yeah, because
Go ahead.
Wow.
No, I was just gonna say, because people don't want to just get this shit over with. They just want to do the tomfoolery,
Yeah. And
polio isn't real. Polio was fake.
Right. And Gavin Newsom made some really tough decisions early on and throughout the pandemic. But at the end of the day, the numbers don't lie.
You know, it's some people, you know, want to wear a condom and some people don't. And the ones that do don't have to wonder 9 months later, right?
Right.
Is it my baby? Is it my baby? Like that thing with what is it? Cat Williams. He's all in jail. He's behind the screen. Now I know that one's my baby, but that one is not my baby.
Can I tell y'all? I know I don't want to get too far, but that clip, like I saw that clip before Tiffany Haddish was famous.
Oh yeah.
And then I saw it again. It's, you know, it circled, it came. I was like, oh my God, that's Tiffany Haddish. Like the whole
Oh
time.
yeah.
And I
Darren, don't be playing. That is your baby.
That baby already got good credit. That baby already got a credit score of 800, whatever he says. That's my favorite line.
He's from the land of Caucasus.
Caucasus Mountains. There is a very powerful Cat Williams clip, him and Larry King floating around on Instagram.
Yes.
I just saw it. Have y'all seen it? Those questions.
Yeah.
Very nice. Good stuff. What's the best part about being a celebrity? Nothing. Like
everybody wants some.
Especially not with his demeanor. Like Cat Williams has a certain temperament. Certain people have a better temperament to deal with fame and being recognized by the public. He seems like somebody that is very discerning and, you know, of people, and he kind of likes to keep his circle small, and he seems kind of private too. And so for him, fame probably just took all the fun out of making money. I think if he could make the money, do his comedy, do his stand-up, and then live anonymously, he would probably be in heaven.
Oh yeah.
A friend of mine dated him. A friend of mine dated him very briefly.
Oh, nice.
And she was just saying, to your point of, you know, private, small circle, whatever. But you know, she didn't say much or whatever, and that's been a while. But I just remember I was really surprised by it all, like that she was dating him. And I actually also had one of my students, which I want to check on her because I don't know if it was going so well for her, but she was his assistant for a while. That didn't, based on the things that she was saying, looks on her face, it didn't seem like it was going well. And I just wanted to say, blink twice if you're okay. You know, like I was very concerned. I didn't know what to do. And then like I said, but my student obviously was a younger woman. So, you know, I feel like, you know, this may not have been a fit. And then my good girlfriend is a little close to my age. Very separate incidences, but just interesting. But I think but I get the impression in general, it's like you said, that kind of fame ruins it all. He would just rather be able to tell jokes on a large scale, you know, take down arenas, do that, but then not have to deal with the rest.
Whatever's attached to it.
I guess we won't be surprised if we see Cat Williams living on a remote island half of the year, like Lenny Kravitz, getting him a farm in Brazil.
Yeah, man, that's you know, that extra stress. Nobody wants that extra stress that comes with a lot of that stuff. You know, it's stressful when you're struggling to get the money, and then once you got the money, it's stressful because everybody wants a piece.
And everything you do and say is under a microscope, and you have to be like Oprah.
You can't even be a human anymore. Yep. Mm-hmm. Everybody's like, oh, he said that. Oh, the world's over, man. The world's over. It's all done.
Like most of the time, if you just like so many stories came out of Oprah, she never responded, and it seems to be the best strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
it is. Yeah. I think it is. I agree. Now, interestingly enough, as we talk about comedians, there is, I don't know if you guys, you know, and we talked, you know, about comedians, but there's a dispute right now. If you are looking for any of your favorites, now I was on XM, but if you're looking for any of your favorites at Spotify, you're going to be ass out. I don't really know another way to say that. So there's a publishing company called Spoken Giants that manages the publishing for like a lot of our favorites. Tiffany Haddish, Louis Black, Jeff Foxworthy, all the way down to like Bob Hope, Lucille Ball. And they've been beefing with Spotify over publishing and royalties like for a few months. And so just before Thanksgiving, all of those folks' albums, anybody their publishing managed by Spoken Giants was taken down because basically, and I like the way, I love Vulture. Like I feel like I have a love-hate relationship. I think Vulture is a great media outlet, but because they explain things, but then sometimes they get into the whatever. So I love the way they explain it. They said, like, imagine you've got a side hustle working for a massive corporation from which you get an income that's not great, but it's at least consistent. Then you find out you're actually supposed to be making more So you're also owed some back pay for the work you've done. So you go to the company and you say to them, hey, there's an issue with what you owe me. We need to talk about this. And then the company then says, look, we don't owe you that money. And now we're not going to pay you at all until this gets figured out. And that's pretty much Spotify's position with Spoken Giants and the folks that, they
That's
represent.
crazy. Wow.
I thought you were going to say, and that's pretty much working in corporate America. Like, I'm like, I feel like every job I done ever worked. Like,
oh yeah. No,
I
mean, Prince went through a lot,
Right.
That's
right.
People don't want. It's the same what Chappelle said. People don't want to. They call you the talent.
Right.
They're not trying to call you the artist or whatever it is. It's kind of like those the rapper who I was talking about before. When he was telling people you need to get auditors because people hiding your shit.
Right. And in
they're
this
gonna help
case,
you make money, but they're gonna take it.
And in this case, it's interesting because part of the dispute is that comedians are not just the performers, but they write for themselves. So there's a royalty rate that should be paid to them as a writer and as a performer. Yep. Spotify doesn't want to pay both. And I'm like, I'm not mad at that because, for example, like let's just take music. Justin Timberlake. He may get his performance royalties, but whoever has written and produced, they get their money too. Like, to me, it's unfair to penalize someone for being the performer, the artist, and the writer. And that's what it sounds like Spotify is trying to do. And I stand with, of course, because, and this company represents they represent everybody spoken on the spoken word side. So it's just interesting. I feel like artists are always having to fight. And in this case, you're having to fight two fronts, being an artist and for your royalty rates as a writer.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, that's a... you're messing with people's money.
Ultimately, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about capitalism,
right,
is that's its nature, to get the very most resources in with the very least resources out. And so it's like, if you start just wanting to be an accountant, you're going to do an internship and they're going to basically make you do all this work and not pay you. Robbing you blind. But that's the way the system works until you get your own and you start working for them and you're being underpaid for the value you bring. And then you finally own your own stuff. And then you start really generating the income you own. And so I feel like artists got to do the same thing. In the beginning, like if you really want to make it big, you may have to pay your dues initially. But as you move up, make sure you're moving towards full ownership of everything you do so you can truly get what you deserve, because we live in a capitalistic system and it sucks. Like we are running with a wagon with two wheels off. Okay. But play with the rules of the game you in.
And on that,
what are you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just going to say on that note, those out there, we want to ask you a quick question. How much would you pay to watch Spiderman? Would you pay $10,000?
Speaking of a capitalist system, a system that overvalues and underpays, we definitely want to know, because I just want to say this too. When I hear this whole thing, I think a couple of things to consider, especially since we're in such a great time. Capitalism, to me, capitalism and democracy are two ideologies that can build a system, but they can't sustain a system. And I think even though people do go by the axiom of artists having to pay their dues, I think we're challenged in the ways that you want to get art out to massive audiences. So the goal is to try to get as much as you can out of the system with as little cost, or little sacrifice, and not in a bad way, because you've made the art. But I think that we get into these challenges because once it takes on a valuation outside of you and you get to the masses and other hands get in the pot, that's where the problem comes. Because I know we're a long way from it. I don't necessarily think like artists have to per se pay dues, but in this system, there isn't another way around it. But I'm like so many, I think the system is flawed. So we have these survivalist axioms that exist, but because we're having to survive a flawed system. And that's just what I think. I wish we it just is what it is. Like we talked about the gun stuff a few days ago. Yeah, Amendment 2 works because we all lived a million miles apart, and we didn't, and there weren't AK, there weren't AR-15s, and all you're trying to do is protect lands. That Amendment 2 doesn't work when we're right up against each other in metropolises, in cities. And so it's the same for capitalism mixed with democracy. It works because you were trying to build a nation. And so, but I mean, and here's the thing, and you justified, this horror, slavery, again, low cost, no cost, whatever. And I feel like you all haven't strayed far from the premise of paying the worker, the person who creates the least, and then trying to built a whole billion, not just a company, but industries. Cotton is an industry. Tobacco is an industry. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and I think it's the same for the music. But anyway, I know we got another work to do.
But let us know in the audience if you would pay
Yes.
$10,000 to $23,000 to watch Spiderman on the first day instead of just waiting a day or two. Like we want
right. So just,
we want to. Can you do it?
Yeah.
But we're gonna bring up a very good guest and friend. Who I've met at let me see if I'm saying this correctly, the Dow Comedy Studio. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay. Woo!
I don't know. I'm not qualified.
I got it.
I know Dow. I know that word. Okay.
With the amazing Bobby Oliver. Yes.
I have to try to break the habit of saying Tao also by saying Dow. So I slow down. It's like I slow down like I'm landing a plane. Complete stop. Dow.
And she's also written 2 books, Intact and Dreamwalking, and she does comedy, and she's here to have a very fun and interesting conversation with us. Let's welcome Sasha Kildare.
Sasha.
Hi, Sasha.
Hello. How are you doing this evening?
I have to confess that this virtual thing makes me so nervous.
Oh, you'll be fine.
As opposed to in person.
You'll be fine.
Wow.
You'll be fine.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And we are going to hold the space for your nervousness. We're going to have a nervous interview, and it's going to be so much fun.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And
I have to throw in something about the music industry. I got to share with you the most important thing I learned in college.
Ooh.
The definition of a writer. A laptop and a working spouse. I have a laptop. That is a trip. The whole, especially the fiction thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, writers and just artists in general, man, you have to deal with so much just to break through, or
and you got, listening to you got me thinking, because I'm not newsflash, I'm not 26 anymore. So what's most important to me now, my daughter just went to college, my son's in college, is really sharing my message. It's not even like I've had professional jobs, I freelance, but it's just, reaching my audience and sharing my message, which I don't think exactly is out there about, well, I'm not a PhD. So the way I write is just more accessible, and the humor and all that. Mm-hmm. That mental health, like Simone Biles said, mental health is physical health. Well, mental health is a lot of things. It's our nutrition, it's our culture, it's our temperament, it's our, the way we process. And nutrition is actually a bigger part than we realize. It's our movement. Just trauma. Like now there's a lot more research on trauma and how it changes the pathways and just what to do about it. And it's just, I had a horrendous experience from when I went away to college, scholarship, ended up, I ended up right after my 18th birthday in a mental hospital. So, and, I think I was hospitalized 7 or 8 times before I got proper medical care. Did not have insurance. And the only way I got proper medical care was I didn't plan it this way, but I actually was finally found a major that I had a little dyslexia, journalism. Oh, I loved that. Like it was new. Like, oh, wow, just dive in. And then the next story, it cured my writer's block. I loved it. And I was doing great. I was going to be entertainment editor at the Cal State Long Beach newspaper, just doing fantastic. But I went to visit my grandmother in New York, where I'm from, and walked into a record store and moved in with the guy I met there 2 weeks later.
Wow.
Wow.
That didn't go so well, hence the homeless part.
Oh.
And just dropped out of school just like that. And a social worker, I got on a plane to go home. And this is after school had started, so I'd already blown that off. And I swear, like something inside me said, you can't do this, because it was a horrible situation I was going back to in terms of where I was living. I walked off the plane and, the plane was about to start. And just the look on my face, the stewardess said, okay, you can leave. To be on the street. No, I got back together with the guy for a few days, and then on the street, and a social worker tricked me. She said, I have a place for you.
Wow.
In a shelter. She said, let me drive you there.
Oh, wow.
She took me to the back of the hospital. I did not know I was going into a hospital. And she walked me in. They closed the door. And then she left. And she goes, don't worry. If you don't like it, you can go someplace. I mean, I got tricked. And then I got, it was free. At Bellevue Public Hospital. Wow. I don't know if they still are completely, like, they take anyone at the time, like anyone. And I was there a few months and wraparound treatment. I got job training. I got therapy for the first time and blah, blah, blah. But anyhow, that was so random. And that's what upsets me to this day, that I was so functional and then I was so dysfunctional with the drugs and everything. And then randomly somebody tricked me into treatment and good treatment. And I've never been back to the hospital. I got out on my 27th birthday.
Well, thank you for sharing that too, because it takes bravery to share stuff like that. That's not easy to share.
Right.
Well, it helps that my daughter just turned 18. So I had a book. I had a really good agent years ago, and it became a custody issue, and I let it go, and I wrote a novel, and now there's no more custody issues.
Yay.
18.
That's marriage, divorce, and child stuff. That's hardcore shit.
That's why the comedy to me, like, I think most people that are creative tend to overthink, that rumination and like you couldn't make something really good without kind of overthinking it. Like, when there's no such thing as writing, it's rewriting. So you're like always like chiseling away. And the thing about comedy is, like, when you write, right? Like your audience is out there somewhere. But when you do comedy, they're right there. Like, it's so cool. Like, oh, they're laughing. Yay. And it's also, it gives, for me, what it's done, it's been since 2006, what it's done is it gives me that comedic lens. Like when somebody treats you really, really crappy, like, wow, like you really, in your head, you really, did that. Like I had a job recently for 2 months, and it was a teaching job. Thank you, God. I'm no longer there. Thank you. It was right after COVID. And I mean, this is how bad it was. The woman who ran the clubs did a little newsletter, and she dissed me in print.
Oh, wow.
She said, Miss Faynors, I have 2 names. I have the comedy and the writing name, and then the legal name. And she said, and her classes are off the hook, but that's another story. I'm like, what?
Is that sounds like a backhanded compliment? Like, I don't even.
And then the guy who was the dean. So this is the thing with these charter schools. They just hire people, pay them what they will. And he was just coming and going. And I know that because he'd come to my class. Do I have anyone's phone? Because I got to go. He was a ref too. I'm like, what? Right. And he insulted me several times in front of everyone. I'm like, where am I? I've been in 3 school districts before that. I never had anything like that happen.
Wow. Charter
Um,
schools are interesting. I worked at one at 2 different sites. I understand. Just it's a different beast.
Is any of that in your book for
No,
Intact or Dream
that
Walking?
is since the book, but what I'm saying is one of the ways that helped me deal with it. I haven't like really done bits with it because believe me, there's so much material there in 2 months. The principal after school on my time, right? I had 30 minutes bell to bell to eat, go to the bathroom, get water, set up. I never experienced this. So I had this important medical appointment, a diagnostic test, and like to get an end of the day one can take months. And he held me to, you know what he was talking to me about? Miss Kildare, like, I got to tell you, the maintenance man, there's like paper specks on your carpet. No good. Like, what? The principal's coming to my room, holding me from a medical appointment that if I don't get to on time, I will take months. And this is God. Sorry, throw God. But so on the way there, I was so shaken because if I didn't get that appointment, and it was an important diagnostic appointment, I'm being evaluated for something, then I would have to wait like a month. And they wanted me to have it with whatever. So then I'm driving and I'm telling my friend about this, and I mentioned the principal's name, and because I was already within 1 month, I was looking for another job. So guess what happened? This never happened to me before. You're texting, the text went to him about how I was looking for another job.
Oops.
Payback. No.
So that's why I'm not there anymore. But it was just so funny. I was meant somebody above did not want me because I had an eating disorder as well as overeating. I would undereat, and I can get into that rigid discipline. And I can't diet. I could really get sick because I overdo it. And so because I couldn't go to the bathroom all day, what can happen? Because I used to have bladder infection. The doctor said, you gotta go. I just shut my body down subconsciously. And I was worried about that happening again. It was awful. So anyhow, I like to be able to laugh about it.
Yeah.
Like really, really helps.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about what brought you into comedy and what's comedy, how comedy makes you feel.
So the food thing. So I one of the things about being in the hospital, I got time to reflect when I was 26, and I had like real doctors, not, and so I said, I think these tranquilizers, like, I think they like trigger my drug use. And they said, okay, like if you can sleep through the night, we'll take you off that. And so that was my horrible drug years were 19 through 26. Every summer, nobody bothered to tell me when you have the bipolar vulnerability, depression, whatever, that circadian rhythm summers like that, the days are longer. I didn't have as much structure, blah, blah. So that was that. But my food nonsense started when I was 5. A lot of, violence in my childhood. My mom died when I was young, when I was 3. And so I got past like the really dangerous part of it. But I would go on all these diets and I would gain tons of weight and then lose tons of weight. And I wanted to have a second child, and I was running out of time. And in vitro. I'm like, it's expensive. And with my hormonal shakiness, I don't think it's a good idea. They trick your body into being pregnant. So I'm a little Miss Journalist here, never full-time, but have done part-time since college, done stories here and there. And I looked it up, and it was like gaining and losing weight, like 30 pounds up and down every year, not good for your hormones. And like really and especially your reproductive. So I made a pact with the universe, and I'd been in Narcotics Anonymous and I'd been in Overeaters Anonymous, but I hadn't with the Overeaters Anonymous. I had never, like, I just said, I got to change. So I gave up sugar and white flour and a lot of processed foods, and I changed the way I ate and stabilized my weight.
Mm.
and I
There
never
you
went
go.
back. And I have an 18-year-old daughter.
Hey.
Yeah. And so the interesting thing about that was that was when I really went through, like, after the hospital, I became functional and stable, but emotionally, it wasn't until, I mean, it was riveting to change the way I ate, and oh my gosh. And then I came back to myself, and I was writing screenplays at the time. That's how I really learned how to write fiction. Um, and I was in this writing group, and somebody said, "You write like a stand-up."
Oh,
And I went
okay.
to a
Very nice.
writing conference, the Irma Bombeck. I don't know, they
Oh,
still have it in Ohio. Irma Bombeck, every 2
wow.
years, wonderful writing conference.
Wow.
And I had a mentor on the online writing group, and he dared me to do the show that he was hosting. And I did it. And that was in 2006. And,
Yay.
you know, writing beat some of my former addictions. Now, if I could only become addicted to marketing, I might actually sell something. So then that was like, I realized now that was my first time on stage since I slept through a dance concert at 18. And I just loved it. And I ended up writing, like, going in a little different direction. But the comedy just, for 3 years, actually, honestly, for 3 years, I was just so sick. I'm not very literary, and I kept getting turned down with literary journals. And so I just did comedy, and I was doing shows for 3 years. Um, and since then, the shows take time, because I was up to like 15, 20. It takes time. And I still do. Open mics are so available in Southern California, and some really good ones with people who are doing shows. So you're being entertained, and it's close. And I really found it cathartic, because when I gave up the food, I just became a lot more raw.
Mm.
Just felt things more deeply.
Mm.
So
Very nice.
it just really helps.
Yeah.
And so now the writing that I do is I do some mental health journalism. I've done that for 10 years for a couple of publications that are, you know, what's the word? Niche mental health magazines, but
Oh,
they're
nice. Congrats.
BP Magazine and Esperanza, and they're what's the word? I can't think of the word, but anyhow, they have high standards, high editorial standards.
Mm.
So I get to interview some of the top experts in the world, and it's
Wow.
just so inspiring. And I blog for them too, but that's like just, when I'm up to it. And then the book, yeah, I have big plans for the book because it's memoir, information guide, some poetry, some comedy. But it's really make it accessible. Like, I want to speak to colleges and rehabs about, make it funny, but also like the complexity of it, and you are what you do, and changing your habits can really help. Like, for me, there was no one thing. Exercise is huge, my blood sugar stable is huge, sleep, but just the empowerment aspect of it. And that also, you do kind of have to hit the library or talk to people and find out we're all a little different.
Yeah, that's good that you're putting a lot of this stuff out. It helps people, It helps other people to kind of talk about it too,
Well, I'm pissed. I'm pissed. What the hell? I mean, I got lucky. Other people aren't getting lucky. And then I taught elementary school. Now, having taught high school for a few years, I'm like, what's going on here? Okay, this dude, I'm bad with names. I'm going to read his book, but he said, okay, for, Black Americans, this is what you need to do. We need to teach phonics, get rid of the war on drugs, and put back vocational education. And I'm really huge on vocational education, but not just like at 16, say go. Like in Europe, you can go at 16, but like have the culture where that skilled trades, like we need with the wind energy, that skilled trades are necessary and they're vital, and that maybe that's your thing, and that you can succeed and support yourself. like Shakespeare, come on, like not everybody's for Shakespeare. So what the, when I went to college, I didn't major in English because I was tortured. I read Tolstoy when I was like 14. I like Tolstoy. I do not like James Joyce. And I saw it in these kids' faces with some of the stuff. They're like, there's the same books when I was in high school. Yeah, 30 years. What the? So
I think what you say is just so powerful. Like I believe and I wish I knew the person who gave this kind of formula for overcoming. I believe in vocational ed for a different reason, but I think that, and this is just me, I'm very different. I think that the university experience and the college experience should be shaped very differently. I think that for like people who want to be dermatologists and you're going to medical school, but I still think you should go work with an esthetician. You should go work in places where you're hands on. And so I don't see vocational ed and university as an either or. I think it's a both and, because I believe that vocational ed offers context and texture to what you can do. The guy who has the Win. Hey, I don't know if you guys are familiar with I don't know why I can't think of his name. He has this product line called Win, WEN, and he was probably one of the first or second to come with this conditioning washing kind of thing, because he was working in a salon. He became famous for doing color, but realized quickly that women who got color from him one week were back in the next week, because as soon as they washed their hair one time, their color was already fading.
Oh, wow.
So he had the idea, and he had the realization that something in shampoo, the sulfates are stripping your color. So people are paying a lot for these color jobs, but your color job should last more than a week. But ultimately, that is chemistry. And that is chemistry at the highest levels. But he didn't have to have a chemistry degree to understand what was happening. And now he's got this $1 billion product line. But I think somebody like that, I'm not saying that he should have, in addition, gone to college. We're talking about somebody who dropped out of high school. But I feel like in this country in particular, we sell the idea of university and vocational as these separate things. Because I'm sure any chemist understands that, but without doing hair, they don't understand what's happening. They look at it as a chemical equation compared to a woman coming in and out with her color. So like, I think that's an interesting thing. And again, to your point about like all these greats, you look at someone, August Wilson, who's a great African-American playwright, has lived and died, has written some of the most iconic work of playwright work, a cycle of 10 plays in the African-American community, but never read Shakespeare, refused, because he felt like he didn't want to define that as a standard for his work. And I feel like that's where one thing gets in the way of the other. So I think that vocational ed is absolutely necessary and should be lifted up, but I don't think it should be to the exclusion of the quote unquote college side. But I think on the college side, we've got to move the needle forward beyond Tolstoy and James Joyce. We've got to make this still information and things that people can connect with.
Well,
but it's just very powerful what you said.
To make it more, I mean, there are emerging authors from all over the world that are relevant, and that was when I taught elementary. Like, I couldn't take the reading because it had nothing to do with I was teaching Wilmington, any of them. But what you're talking about is like, also, we don't have apprenticeships here. I heard on the radio, they were talking about, hotel management, for example. In Europe, you have like 1 year of instruction and you're an apprentice, and then you are managing a hotel. And here they said after 4 years, you don't even have that experience.
Right.
So yeah, we need apprenticeships. And then in high school, they have something called project-based learning, where you solve a problem in the community, and it integrates different, math.
I teach too. I've taught.
Oh, okay.
I've taught, and I teach math. I teach chess. My degree is in math, and I'm actually building right now. I'm in the middle of building an enrichment program for a kindergarten and a first grader, and we're developing a project-based kind of
right
for these two little ones, because that's their parents want more than just the reading, writing, arithmetic that they're getting in the classroom. So project-based learning, I definitely think, is the best of all worlds. If more people would do it and do it more consistent, and we could make it a more standardized model across this country.
And they're talking about with like cybersecurity, we have a tremendous need, more so than other countries, and wind energy. Forget the 4 year, have like a combination apprenticeship and a JC. So it's a big business education here. And I see, like, if you're starting and you're getting disconnected because you're more of a hands-on or whatever kind of learner you are, or
In a sense,
however,
right.
in high school, I just see that escalating. And the
Yeah.
first year I was in the high school, they had the dogs sniffing the drugs. The second year, no, because guess what? The pens with the THC and the perfumes, so these kids are, getting, alienated, like, the kind of at a young age. So, like, I don't know. That's why I have to laugh because
And I agree with both of you, wonderful educators, because what you do is important. And I do think that trade school needs to be honored because if nothing else, just so you have a side hustle and you have a business that you can actually be an entrepreneur for. But, I also agree, as a college student, not right now, but I went to college. One of the main things that I learned that was different from high school was how to question and how to not just accept everything as it's given. We had to take a critical reading class where we read philosophers, and we would have to get to the bottom of what they're saying. And we were graded on how we were able to analyze and prove our point. So it gives that extra layer of, I think every American at this stage needs to be able to take what's given to them as far as information, truly analyze it, truly question it, and be able to back up their points with facts. So I do believe there's certain aspects of college that really make somebody a better citizen. As far as learning about how the system works, learning about true history, American history, and also just learning about how to critically think and how to analyze and be able to back up. So, but I am all for trades. I wish I could have went to cosmetology school instead of accounting school. Okay, like I would much rather be doing hair and nails than doing people's books. But it does pay the bills. And honestly, if I could go back to cosmetology school right now and it didn't cost a ton, I would do it. And I would be doing books and hair.
books in here. Well,
Books and hair.
Books in here.
actually,
Books in
the
here.
CSU system has expository reading and writing curriculum. It's a 12th grade class. They have modules for the younger, and it does exactly what you just said, but it is not across California, but the curriculum is there. I was trained in it. I was able to do that one year, and I loved it because it gave students those skills. Are they talking to your pathos, emotion, logos, logic, ethos? What are they appealing to? And what is their proof? Does it hold up? How do you really research something? Because it's, the source is on the internet. It's tricky. And that is wonderful. I wish, and they have modules now through 7th grade, and a lot of teachers are using them. But it's just, the other thing that really bugs me is every time I just like Silver Linings, the movie, and the one where she was a secret agent about the bipolar, they're always like still blowing up. They're just extreme. And there are many, many people. That's why I liked it's had many names: manic depression, bipolar disorder. Blah, blah, blah. I prefer bipolar depression because it is, for me, it was an outlet of my depression. I had mixed episodes. I didn't have true mania, blah, blah, blah. But there are people that are stable for years and years. You have to live I have to live a certain way. I can't go on these crazy diets. I need my sleep. I have to exercise. It's just the way, but there are many people like me or they do have episodes, but they deal with them, but they're not these dramatic, like the guy on Silver Linings, he's throwing things and smashing things.
Oh, the movie Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's
Good
all
movie.
I've seen. I've never seen a character that isn't like that. Jane Pauley, bless her heart, like she was outspoken about her whole journey, and she did achieve stability. And she had, which isn't terribly uncommon, in I think she was in her late 40s when some medical procedure triggered it. But so I don't know. You gotta laugh.
Yeah, we all do.
So we have a question we've asked the audience, and we're going to ask everyone here tonight. We want to put it up real quick. Bam. Would you pay $10,000 to watch the new Spider-Man movie? So who wants to go first?
I'll go
Easily
first.
no.
Oh, yeah.
I'm finished. I'm finished.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dan.
Unequivocally, indubitably, no. No.
I think if they paid me 10 grand, I would watch it.
You're like, they gotta pay
If
me.
they paid you.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
I
That sounds like a better deal.
Yeah.
Hey, my father, when I was young, single dad, I went everywhere. I went on his dates. I went to the movies, saw The Godfather when I was 9, 8, 5, I don't know. And he taught me, he goes, listen, if you don't like a movie, walk out because your time is more valuable than the ticket you paid. So
It is.
I'm very picky with movies.
Nice.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. I don't know, man. It shocks me that there's actually people making bids on the $10,000 tickets. Nobody's making them on the biggest one though. The biggest one is $23,000.
Oh,
But
they're confident.
but the fact that people are even making bids on $10,000 tickets to me is just damn
Capitalism.
hilarious.
Stefan,
Yeah.
they were rich.
So,
They are
right.
rich. They're filthy rich. They don't got nothing to do with their money. They was like, you
They
know
got
what? I'm
nothing
tired
to
of
do
using
with
this for toilet paper. Let me get some Spider-Man tickets.
I
Like,
gotta go see Spider-Man.
I mean,
But I
rich
think
people do this stuff.
but I just think it's because I don't know who's buying, but I don't necessarily assume in this country that it's rich. I just think that there are these people who have put a valuation on this thing based on this system this system of capitalism that's been at work, bless its heart, for so long that there are people that just see the world this way, to be the biggest, fastest, tallest, strongest at any cost, because that is more valuable than any in this moment. This is the most valuable thing.
Well, thrill-seeking behavior. It's a thrill,
Mhm.
and they just run out of thrills. So, you know, I don't know. I'm having a short story published in an anthology next spring, which is a huge breakthrough for me because all my fiction's been put on the shelf. So I'm going to finish the collection that it's to be a part of because it's an anthology, so I still have the rights. But I'm like really pissed off. It's all sports related, young adults, teens, sport American style. But I'm really pissed off about this minor league baseball thing. They don't even get minimum wage because they don't pay them for training or all. So I would write I would try and say something that resonated in a short story about a high school kid in minor league baseball. And the best thing I've ever read was Beyond Nonfiction, Beyond Fiction, the collection of Gary Smith's Beyond the Game. He wrote for Sports Illustrated for years. And he did something that transcended fiction and nonfiction. So that's a collection of some of his stories. And a number of them were about young adults.
Mm.
And one of them actually moved me, like it's still within me. Because it was a young woman that went to the same college as my mom, and my mother was a humanitarian, and this amazing woman that died at 29. And I was like this similar spirit, and that story lives within me. And I just want to throw something totally around. But Paris Winningham, I really hope he wins on The Voice because his voice, I feel it in my heart. It's just hard to explain.
That's how it is with
story.
some singers, you know.
Yeah, it's just
you hear a song or a voice, and it just it really hits you.
It grips you.
I want to know who this is, and then what was I going to say? And I think things like The Voice are the upside of capitalism. Like, I don't think it's all bad, but I think whatever comes together to say we should put this show on TV so that artists may connect and communicate with the world, whether it is an affirmation or a challenge to capitalism. Without that, so I'm about to look him up because I'm just like, or is it a he?
He's in the top 5. They vote next Monday, but I hate to say I had a sinking realization. Money does play a part in it because of those that are in the top 5, they said their song is like number 4 on YouTube. I'm like, I have a good ear. It's like, okay, they come from money. They got expensive PR, So I'm like, crap. I hadn't even thought of that. Now, obviously, they're good. If they weren't good, no PR could. But I'm like, dang, like it's even playing a part in this nonsense that whatever. But you feel his voice, and I'm not alone.
Is
But
this the dude? Is this the dude that did the really really soulful version of the Golden Girls theme a few years ago? He went viral with it. He looks like that guy.
I don't know, but he's on The Voice this year. He was in the
Yeah.
Navy 8 years. He's 33 years old.
I see him. I had to look up.
Paris. I mean, and also the name Paris, like,
Mhm.
you know, I love his
It's a
parents.
beautiful
I
name.
love Paris.
Mhm.
I've actually had the pleasure. I got to teach French last spring. That was so much fun because my mom was a French and Spanish professor. I used to speak French.
Mhm.
And so just Paris is like, no, but it's funny because then he reminded me of Eddie Vedder a little, even though he's a soul singer. And I was like,
Mhm.
what is it? It's that grippiness that I get when I hear Eddie Vedder too. That just, oh my God, you know.
Girl, I want to hear him so bad, and I'm sitting
He
here
did
like,
Use Me. He did okay, Use, and he's done. I'm, you know, I should be able to, because What's Going On, that was my favorite by Marvin Gaye. He did that one.
Wow.
Okay.
On that note, we're definitely gonna have to bring you back another time because we're about out of time.
Okay.
But we do want to thank you for joining us. It was a lot of fun. Do you have any shows coming up or anything you want to promote? Please
I will
let
just
the
say,
audience know.
you know, my book is on Amazon, Intact, Untangle the Web of Bipolar Depression, Addiction, and Trauma. And there are some light moments in there, memoir information guides, some poetry, some humor. And then my website is driventotellstories.com, about once a month. And it's really deep dive on the art, business, and craft of storytelling, and creativity and depression seep into that.
All right.
Beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Anybody else have any shows or anything coming up you want to promote or talk about really quick?
Let's see, this Sunday, 8:30 late show in Monterey Park. Having a good time, toys for kids and that. And then next Thursday, unknown title, but a fundraising show. Then next Saturday, Hot Medusa at Comedy Chateau.
Ooh.
And then Sunday, Flappers, Blame It on the Boogie 3, a show I produce and that I'm on. We've got Saba Agarwal, who's I don't think she knows she's the headliner, but that's what I've made her because she's so amazing. And then I signed on for something else more. And then I'm kind of at the usual suspects. I'm at Flappers on the 22nd. Doing the usual Wednesday night co-MC thing, but I'm also part of 2 shows at Flappers on New Year's Eve, the 31st. I just went ahead and said yes to those. I'm like, what else have I got to do? I don't know. I haven't really been invited anywhere. Flappers, all pretty much all month, I guess. And and shameless plug because I'll be plugging it hard. Chocolate Sundays virtual impressions thingy is all I can say on the 20. I always get the date wrong. The 28th, which is a Wednesday, or so maybe the 29th. Then I just know it's a Wednesday. That's all I know. And so I'm just asking everybody, like, you know, everybody who says that they, you know, miss Zoom shows a little bit, this is virtual. So, and we have no excuses. And for everybody, everywhere, you don't have to live here. All the Flapper stuff, I get it. It's in real life, but this one, we
I
can
just
do
gotta get the
virtually.
info and I'll go.
And I'll send it to you. And I'm also doing the Electric Comedy Festival, the
the Utah one, right?
Utah. So I think 27,
Nice.
28, 29, 30. Then I have shows on the, let me see, I think I have shows on the 28th and the 29th in that. Those are in real life. I just know like the day of the Chocolate Sundays, I've got a show that afternoon at the festival at 1 p.m. And then I've got the virtual show that night. So
Nice.
I'm overdue for my little flyer. So y'all just follow me and come, you know, whatever you can, whatever. I want you all there at everything. That's the best way I can put it.
How about
Victoria, what you got coming up?
I'm sorry. I just had a mental thought. I was like, y'all just go on the Instagram. But then I didn't say it out loud, so it just I was in my own world. I got a show coming up next week. The Wonder Woman show at the Hollywood Comedy.
Nice.
Always a fun time. If you're in Hollywood, you want to come and laugh and fellowship, come through. There is a ticket price, but there's no drink minimum. And you can just have your little wine, have your little snacky snack, and enjoy yourself.
Whoop, whoop.
Sounds good.
Stephen, what you got coming up?
Let's see here. What you got? Well, a little Netflix, change my socks. I am working on new material currently. I am not quitting comedy,
Whoop, whoop.
for those who thought I would. Nah, I'm coming back, baby. Got to shave, gets too long, too burly. No shows coming up, just taking care of my kid and working on comedy stuff and getting my mental health in check. And
I need to join your party. I need to do the same. And I'm ashamed to say I forgot. I'm in Claremont tomorrow.
Very nice.
Doing a so we're filler. I'm happy to be filler, but we're filler. So there's a film festival, and they just want comedians up there jabbering away as people mill about between movies.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
I'm on Jabber Away team. I'm on
Jabber team.
So I'm doing 15 minutes of clean tomorrow.
Nice.
3:40 or 4:40 in the afternoon.
Nice, very nice. I will say this really quick though before we do sign off. I'm very excited for December 22nd.
Because
The Matrix, baby.
Matrix Resurrection.
That's right. And we're gonna see the Oracle again.
All right, so I won't lie. I'm excited for December 25th.
Oh.
Sing 2. Oh my gosh.
You mean
there's a Sing?
Okay, what are we talking? What?
The animated Sing.
Oh,
you guys
okay.
know?
Yeah, part 2. Part 2. Okay.
Sing.
I thought you said you were going to see Sting. I was like, oh.
No. I love the first
Roxanne.
That might be a good Christmas movie.
No, I know what you're talking about. Oh yeah. I'll take my daughter. I'm gonna take my daughter to see it.
And then there's a Sing 2. I love this. I own it.
She liked it.
So
she liked it.
I own it.
I gotta take her to see part 2.
It must be really good if they're releasing it on Christmas Day, because all of the Christmas Day movies are bangers always.
That's right.
Sing 2, man. That's all I can tell you. Anyway, I feel like I'm excited. Lots coming up, yes.
So thank
Sasha,
you guys.
so wonderful. I feel like have we not met before? I don't know.
Yes, at Dow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what
a few times. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Because I was like, it just feels like we're all ships passing, like all the time. But anyway, good to see you and good to have you on, sis.
Yes. Thank you for joining us, and
we will
see everybody the week after next. All right. So everybody take care. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.